I'm putting on Do Not Disturb because a lot of
Oh,
people.
okay.
There we go.
Gonna be interesting. All right, yeah, y'all ready?
Welcome to the Breaks Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Breaks Radio. Yeah, we definitely have some topics to get to this week, but we would be remiss if we did not start off by mentioning rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, who was shot and killed over the past week. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. Bayla, I guess I'll come to you first on this one, as you are the LA representative. Um, what's it like out there, man?
Um, it's sad. You know, shit. We lost a leader, a hometown leader, and it's tough to swallow, man, because you never see it coming, and then when it does happen, I mean, for anyone to get gunned down in the streets is a sad situation. It just happened to be a hometown who we considered a hometown hero, and we're dealing with it right now the best way we can. That's
Yeah,
about it. I mean, I've been crying for the past 2 days, man. Seriously, you know, talking to people that I didn't think was emotionally connected to him as well. So, but it was also refreshing to see a lot of people across, outside of LA that was connected to him or respected him for the work that he did, not just with music, but outside of music as well. So, that was a good thing. What Russell Westbrook did last night was so refreshing. That was probably the highlight of anything. Um, because people was asking, well, where do we go from here, and what good of this do we make of it? And I'm like, man, we gotta wait. It's still fresh, and to see what Westbrook did last night was dope for the city, and that was tough.
yeah, it's definitely emotional, man, and it's good to see like the whole world, in a sense, mourn him because he was something special in our culture. Mary, what about you? What was your initial reaction and your feelings since the news of the shooting?
Um, I have to say, I'm really surprised at how deeply it actually touched me. I mean, I actually, am a fan of Nipsey's music and have been, and more so than the music, I really, respect what he's done for, his community, and it's really been an example for all of us. But it's weird because on Sunday when it happened, I opened up Twitter and the first tweet I saw was coincidentally the last tweet that he ended up sending. And then, when I scrolled up, I saw all of the tweets that followed after that were people like, I hope this isn't true, just basically talking about the rumors of him being shot. And I just felt like it was really ironic. And, honestly, I legit prayed that because at that point they were saying that he was hit, but that, he was still hanging on. And I legit prayed for probably, one of the first times in a really long time and hoped that that would make a difference. And, just the fear of like, I legit felt fear. Like, we really can't lose this dude right now. Like, aside from all of the politics and all of the great things he's done and the message he was sending, um him and Lauren have become like the face of black love to the
Yeah,
younger generation. And not for nothing, but in the past few weeks I've been seeing those images that they did for the GQ shoot like everywhere, thanks to social media. I mean, people have made a lot of them into memes. So that part of it, and I guess it's because maybe I'm a woman and a mother and a wife and all that shit, but that part of it really hit me hard as well. It was like, no, I mean, finally we have somebody who's like an example in so many ways, and this is how he's going to go out. And then it was like I wanted to believe the conspiracy theories because it was unbearable to think that he basically ended up getting taken out by a coward that, you know, he knew, instead of being some kind of larger story that was more, I don't know, romantic, dare I say. So yeah, I'm still like, my whole energy is shot. I was just telling you guys this before we started recording, but this truly has impacted me, like, and so many people I know. And mind you, we're on the other coast here, and it's definitely, we're feeling it. So yeah.
Yeah, Lo.
Yeah, it was just heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking to see everyone's reaction. You know, I always cry when a young Black man is taken too soon. Um, but this one hit really hard. I'm more so of a fan of Lauren London. Um, I think that his music was amazing, though, and his mind was amazing. Everything about him, he was so inspirational, so positive. And for him to be killed the way that he was killed, um, basically where he was so comfortable and are surrounded by his family and in front of his store. And I heard that he owned that whole lot. Um, it was just heartbreaking. I just want to know why. But it's definitely uplifting to see all the positive words that everyone has to say about him, like all the celebrities that reached out. Um, and just pray for his family and his children.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and I think that Nipsey really, in a lot of ways, bucked the trend of the stereotype of the Black man. Clearly loved his wife and family, was positive. Yeah, he was in a gang and all that, but it's rare that you see a mix of all those things. And like I said, how publicly he loved his wife and how much he lifted her up, it's just a good thing to see. And own businesses and wanting to get the documentary off the ground, like it. There's not much as a bad as a person or as an artist you can say about Nipsey Hussle, and that's why this one hit so hard, because in a way everyone felt connected to Nipsey in a way. I think,
Mhm.
and I for one didn't really. I've always loved Nipsey's music, but it wasn't until kind of like what Mary said, until I got the news that he was officially gone, that I just sitting there thinking like, damn, like it's deep, and it this one definitely hurts. This one definitely hurts.
You know, the one thing that bothered me is when the media would point out the gangbanging aspect, right? But it's like when you look at some of the greats that we've had in the industry, I mean, they pretty much came from a rough background, and I've never used that against any of the rappers that has come out, or things like that, because I understood being in LA. I understand the culture. When you listen to his music, you know, when you listen to his mixtapes, to his album that he put out, he doesn't glorify game banging. He's basically telling you his past, his experiences, on where he came up, how he grew up, and where he wants to go. And so when they bring that up, man, that just, it rubs me the wrong way, man. It really does. And you know, like, I mean, he was like he was like our LA Jesus out here. He could literally go anywhere he wanted to. And everybody brings up his business plans and things that he created, and even the small businesses that he created for the community, and he hired people within the community. But one thing that LA appreciated about him, which a lot of people wouldn't know unless they stayed here and was familiar with the culture, is that he calmed down a lot of violence by making the moves that he made. You know, so by him being deep in the gang culture and making moves with quote unquote his enemies, that kind of calmed down a lot of things in the streets out here. And that's what we applauded him. That's why we loved him like a brother, like a cousin, is because even though he came from that culture, he was trying to tell these other cats within on his side and the cats on the opposite side, like, look, let's come together, make money, and buy back our land. And that was it.
Yeah, that's a positive message anyone can get behind. I had on this list bringing up the surveillance footage, and there was footage released from when he was actually shot. and from Laura London's reaction to walking to the hospital. If you guys want to talk about it, we can. But at this point, I don't even know if I'm really ready to be honest with you.
I mean, it's messed up. I think
It's so
what else is
disturbing.
there
Like,
really? Yeah. When do we
it's
draw the line? I think we're all just
yeah.
starting to share. I mean, that's such a bigger conversation, right? Like that was crazy. I mean, even like the junior situation, in the Bronx, like last year.
Oh
Yeah.
When do
God.
we stop like recording and start respecting and actually trying to help? Like, I mean, the other question that I kind of have is that now the story has turned into, and I'm hearing so many conflicting stories, so I don't even want to be quoted on all this, but the latest thing that I heard was that he had a bunch of strapped accomplices around him and they all kind of ran. And basically what I'm hearing is the shooter shot him a few times in the body first and
Mm-hmm.
walked away and then came back again and then shot him in the head. And basically if homeboy was not able to come back, Nipsey probably would have survived the body shots. But it's like a weird that he was with other people who all just ran and left him exposed like that, even after being shot. So I mean, again, I don't, like, I wasn't there. I didn't see that on surveillance, but I mean, I definitely think I did see, though, the shooter did kind of come back a few
Yeah,
times.
he came back.
And
Yeah, he
Came back
did.
twice.
so, like, how is he allowed to even do that? But yet people are recording other shit after the fact. Like, I don't know.
Well,
It just, I have questions.
the questionable thing is, well, and I think it's, I, for obvious reasons, maybe the family. Well, I don't want to see it anyway, but at the same time, there are two other camera angles that was actually closer. Um, and we've also got those questions a lot of, where was his security. That block, if a lot of people don't know, he owns that whole block, and he may own financially that plaza with that area. That's all him. You know what I'm saying? And that was his safe space. So I didn't expect for two big bodyguards to be standing around him or anything like that. And it is a lot of questions. It's questions about people that actually ran away, that were in some of the pictures. You know what I mean? Uh, they caught the getaway driver. And then, I mean, they caught the shooter as well, but that had to come down to, street justice. And unfortunately, two other people in two houses had to pay for that, for this man to actually give himself up. So it goes back to, and I know how the narrative is to flip it on gang related and things like that. Yeah, but this was actually in house. It wasn't the opposite flag. Um, and it was just a situation, like, I mean, his big homie was standing right next to him before the gunshots went off. Went back to go get his food. 3 seconds later, he's down. You know what I'm saying? Along with his friend and his brother, who we all still need to keep in prayer. Um, so I mean, it's just one of those things that you just, by the grace of God, 30 years from now, we look back and say, this is a man who created this, and he died in front of something that he created.
And this, of course, brings about the question um, about gun violence in America, specifically in our community. Do you think the impact of Nipsey Hussle and how this death is affecting everyone? Do people start taking gun violence more serious than what they already are in our communities? Because I feel like there's a movement outside of it, but very rarely do you hear us get behind gun violence talk. Mary, what do you think?
I just feel like I'm so tired. I mean, honestly, with the whole gun violence thing. I mean, I feel like in certain neighborhoods it's just second nature, right? Like, like people just have guns and no one even wonders where they came from. It's just, I don't know. I just think we got to do something. We got to do better. I think that if we want to take the argument of like, well, guns don't kill people, it's the people with the guns, then it's like that's a whole other issue as well. Like, I mean, I saw a tweet yesterday that I retweeted and it really resonated with me. I cannot remember the person who tweeted it, but I think it was Charlemagne who actually, the person was quoting Charlemagne, and he basically was saying that basically we need therapy as a people. Because right now it's like this is like all has created trauma, and now we're all kind of reacting to it, and we're in a vicious cycle. So I mean, if you really break this down, this guy who basically killed a legend and hope for people, um basically did that because whatever, his feelings were hurt and he had access to a gun and decided to take someone's life. Like, I don't know. When you really think about that, it's just wild. Like, there's just so much that needs to be fixed. I can't even, I can't even break it down. But this really just, I mean, I'm still trying to find the L in this, the lesson in this L, right? And
Yeah.
it's like maybe the gun violence thing is the only one I can see here. That something has to be done here. I don't know. I'm just very rarely am I at a loss for words. I think you guys know that. And right now I don't even know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming. It's like, how much can we do? Like, what can we do? Um, like she said, it just makes you speechless. It's so devastating. Actually, someone that I grew up with was killed over the weekend here in Akron. Um, and it's just like you just get so tired. I'm just like exhausted. I wouldn't even know where to start if I were to have that discussion about gun violence. Where do you even start? Where do you go? It's just it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. If I don't know what the L is either, but that's sad in itself because if it took us to lose a legend for us to get it, I mean, haven't we had enough examples with Chicago alone? The '90s, the LA back in the '90s, you
Yeah.
yes.
know.
I
So
was just
like,
thinking that. I was just thinking like for again, growing up in New York, but like seeing like all of the shit on the West Coast in the 90s. Definitely, like I was really thinking. I mean, Boys in the Hood, right? Like prime example. It's like you kind of think like gun violence truly is a reality like in South Central. So it's crazy that it's like 20, almost 30 years later and this is still what we're dealing with here.
yeah, and it seems like Chicago is like, yo, we need to catch up.
Stop.
Yeah. Well, let's try to get as positive as we can on this subject. And so favorite Nipsey song, Nipsey Hussle song, memory, whatever, just so we can leave it on something positive. Like I said, as we can get here. Who wants to go first on this one?
I'll go.
Okay.
I think mine is probably not anyone else's, but I'm going with Double Up.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
I
okay.
like that one. I like that
Okay.
one.
I didn't think
Okay.
anyone else would because it wasn't one of his harder tracks. To be honest with you, the video really made me love it. I mean, and that's another thing too, right? Like he was starting this little trend of like putting Lauren as like the leading lady in all of his videos. I thought that was super cute. Um, so yeah, and the beat was sick, all that.
Mine is actually not a music moment at all. It's him at a Lakers game and him saying, "You guys need me to suit up." that, that was that's just a great moment. And Nipsey was just a fun dude, man. His energy was just amazing. I think that moment kind of gets it all together in one. I don't know if I was picking a song, Mary, I would probably pick Double Up too, though. Really. So
Wow.
low.
I loved his relationship with Lauren. They were just a gorgeous couple. I did watch their interview that they did with GQ. She was asking him like a bunch of questions about herself. Um, but I just thought that their relationship was beautiful. So that's my favorite memory of Nipsey, and that he was just so positive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just enjoyed, for me, especially like from what I do on my solo podcast. Like I enjoy hearing Nipsey speak. Like he was passionate about anything he talked about, and that's always a good thing. Like, and he didn't try to like overdo, like it was all genuine. You know, like some people, they speak and they feel like they gotta put on, they gotta change the way they talk or talk. Like Nipsey was just him, and he was intelligent as hell being him and comfortable being him. He didn't care what anybody else thought about it, because what the words that he used and what he was saying, he felt, and it was genuine, and it all came through amazing. And so, you know, I loved hearing Nipsey Hussle just talk about real life things, not even music.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would add too, to Lowe's point, Lauren and him on the Grammy red carpet. They were the
Yeah.
cutest thing.
Hmm.
And I don't remember who exactly was interviewing them, but you know, the interviewer was like, you know, you did great, to Nipsey, basically complimenting him on, you know, being with Lauren. And Lauren was like, no, she was like, you did good. And Lauren was like, he did great. And then
Hmm.
then the woman who was interviewing them was like, well, you did good too. And he was like, she did terrific. And it was like, their energy, you really like saw that they complimented each other. Like,
Yeah.
it was genuine, and
He
you just
loved
don't see
her.
that all. Yes, and
He
you don't see
loved
that all the
her.
time, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time, but
Hmm.
yeah.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.